friends, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. I hope that you're doing great. Today is February 3rd, 2025. Tonight what I want to share with you is the direction of where my channel is going to go. And when I first started this channel, I really wasn't sure what I was going to do, what I wanted to actually share. I had an idea of what I wanted to share. I wanted to share what I was doing with my herbs and some of my cooking and stuff. And that was partly as a result of people were asking me, Laura, what's the recipe? You know, when you post it on social media, people would say, oh, that looks great. What's your recipe? So I decided that I would post things on YouTube. And this way, there's an interaction going on. I'm getting better at how I do my videos, so hopefully it will continue to do well. And I'm hoping that with your support, you know, by subscribing to the channel, leaving comments, and just kind of getting some movement with the channel, it'll be a great help from you, but it will also help build my channel. What is the focus of my channel? And that was a thing that I had been thinking of for some time. Now, I don't know if I've already mentioned it, but I changed the name of the channel to Potpourri of Life with Laura. So even if you type in Potpourri of Life, it's still going to come up because the spelling is the same as it's always been. The reason I changed it was because I noticed that there was other people out there, their title says Potpourri of Life. YouTube doesn't differentiate and just say, oh, this is a different channel and require them to have a separate name. So their direction, like if they put Potpourri of Life 1 or Potpourri of that, they can still be seen, but their title still says Potpourri of Life. So I said, I'm going to differentiate myself and say Potpourri of Life with Laura. There you have it, as simple as that could be. I'm not going to change the other part that directs people to my channel because I didn't want an interruption there. And even though my channel is just now really kind of starting to build, I wanted to make sure that I kept some things the same. So what else is going to change with my channel? Well, I'm going to still keep David in with some of the stuff, the ones that he's willing to be participant of. He's not a talker. He just isn't. He's a 1-2 word talker. Outside of YouTube, outside of other things, he can sit and he and I can have a lot of conversation. But for the most part, when it's on film, he's really not that big of a conversationalist. So he will be incorporating here more so when we are doing some projects and I need his help, like his construction, his woodworking, and those type things. But I'll be still focused on our home style, homestead type life. I will be sharing about the gardens and the animals, our greenhouses, the starts and stuff. So all the things that most people think about when they think homestead, as well as the baking and the preserving and so forth. So those are all things that people, when they say homestead, they think that's what they're thinking of, is what animals, what foods are they growing, and what are they doing to preserve them. And you know, some homesteaders don't preserve their food. They might just have animals, and that's okay. Everybody's own view of homesteading is what suits them. So for us, for me, little old me, I'll be sharing a little bit about herbs because I grow herbs really well and I really enjoy working with them. And with the studies that I'm on, I'm also learning more and more of the medicinal value. So you're going to be hearing a little bit more on that. I haven't been sharing a lot because I have to be a little reserved, making sure people understand that treatments for me might not work for you. So I might be able to drink a tea with oregano and thyme and it calms different things down. I used to drink that all the time when Lyme disease was, I was fighting Lyme disease really hard. I still drink that tea from time to time, and it works. It works for me. And I will share with people a little bit more about stuff like that that I use during that, as well as things that my husband and I might be using right now. So that's forthcoming. I'll be sharing about the gardens and the changes that we've been making. And we live on a 1/4 acre lot in New Hampshire. It's not a bad piece of property. We've been here over 35 years, and you know, we raised our girls here and we have just moved on to different things. We had, when the kids were home, we homeschooled them for about 10 years. They had rabbits, they had, they didn't have chicken, we brought in the chickens. They had cats, they had stuff like typical kid stuff. And so as they grew, I did learn something with rabbits though, they make great compost. So I'm trying to actually bring rabbits onto our property, and in addition bring the chickens back. We had chickens for a couple of years, and because we have been planning on moving, we decided, okay, we're gonna stop raising them. We culled them, and we're gonna bring them back. But they gave us plenty of eggs, and some that we preserved. We water glassed our eggs. We did some dehydrating and stuff, so we still have eggs that we're going through, which is a bonus considering that we did what we did. And that was all good because we didn't want them to be too old, and it was time to do that because we were making some changes in terms of wanting to move. So we were downsizing a lot of stuff to make plans, but the housing market is such that it's not easy to just pack up and go unless you have the resources and you don't mind the really big, expensive prices of houses. And that's the shocker for us. I am very conservative with our money. I try to make sure that it's being utilized efficiently. We both want to move. We're both looking. And eventually we will find that house because we keep God in the loop in terms of where we're going. Keeping that in mind, the other things that I'll be showing is the gardens, the preserving, cooking, baking, home upkeep. I've been sharing lately some of the organizations that I've been doing. The reason I like to keep things organized and neat. My husband understands it. He didn't really understand it until I explained it to him. I said, when the house is in order, my head is in order. I don't have a problem going to somebody else's house, and if it's cluttered, it doesn't faze me because our house sometimes is cluttered. That's because we all live in our homes. But sometimes the clutter can pile up, and for me, it can be too much. So it was really eye-opening for those of you who haven't been here before. We had a death in the family a couple years after COVID came along, and there was just a lot of dynamics. We ended up inheriting a lot of stuff, and it was just too overwhelming for our home. So we had to make some decisions. What do we keep? What do we get what do we get rid of? And it was actually very good because it brought back to me the person I am. I'm an organizer. I enjoy keeping things tidy. Like I said, it's not always that way. Now, we have a lot of things, like sometimes some people might think I have too much on my counter. And we had a real estate agent come in and he just said, you got to clean this up if you're going to sell your house. I said, you got to understand, I have no idea how long it's going to take to sell, but not only that, we're going to live here. We will keep our house clean as you see it, but I'm not going to take everything and pack it up because we did pack up some things, and because we didn't move right away, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get the stuff back because those are the things I work with. But I've been getting rid of things that I don't use anymore, as you might have seen in some of my organizing things. So those are some things I'll be talking about. Why I'm like to be organized and what it does for my psyche. This doesn't necessarily work for everybody. I have noticed that as things get back to normal, even my husband, he's not like me. He's not as a perfectionist like that in terms of organizing. He's a perfectionist with his woodworking and a few other things that he works on, but he's not the same as me. And I think that's why we complement each other. And saying that, one of the things I'll be talking about are some marital things, some good things, some bad things, some things that help our marriage grow. We've been married almost 45 years this year. In May, we will be reaching that. And so it's kind of exciting to be able to look back at all the changes that we've gone through in how we have adapted to one another. So I'll be sharing a little bit of that. I will be talking on healthy foods. As I talk about the garden and the herbs and the vegetables and so forth, I'll be talking about healthy foods and why it's important for us. I hope that you see it as important to you as well, all in time, right? And we tend to try not to buy so much at the grocery store now. We do incorporate going to the farm. We have a farmer who supplies us with meat as well as milk. And we also get eggs there right now. Because I water glassed a bunch of eggs, the only reason I'm buying eggs is because my husband likes to have fried eggs once in a while. And anything that needs a whole egg that you're going to be, mostly fried eggs. Let's be real. Because I can use all those water glass eggs for other things. So I get a dozen eggs from them maybe once a month, maybe twice a month. But I have all the others for the baking and so forth. I will be sharing some things with making tinctures and how they benefit our health. I will share how to make a tincture, and yes, you could probably find this out elsewhere as well, and you do what's right for you. So how often will I do this? I don't know, but I have had requests from other viewers saying they would like to see how I'm working in my apothecary, like to see more tincture work, and how that stuff is being used. So that's going to be forthcoming. I'll be making more tea blends. I've got a whole cabinet full of my tea blends, some for colds, some for, I'm feeling like crap today. Maybe that's not the right term. We use teas for a lot of things, and sometimes I drink a tea just to calm down. So I'll be sharing some of those, and I'll teach you how to make some of those blends. Let's see. I will be sharing some home sewing. I haven't decided if I'm going to make a side channel for my sewing. I've decided not to close my sewing business for the sense of being alive by the state. The state, I register with the state every 5 years. Well, it's coming up to whether do I renew it or not, and I've really been praying about this. And after this weekend, thinking about what I wanted to do with this channel, what's the direction that I'm going with, I decided that I may do a sub-channel so that I can share how different things are going. I'm not sure how. Okay, the other part of what I'm sharing on my channel is my frugal ways of stuff. Once in a while, I'll share my grocery hauls. I'm not big on that, but I don't mind sharing what we might pick up at the grocery store for whatever reason. I already go to the farm and pick up a few things there, and sometimes I'll go to a farm stand. My hope is that this year's garden does far better. So you'll be seeing me be canning up, preserving food that'll go on to my home shopping center. Actually, it's just, my pantry that has all the canned goods. So if I can up 25 jars of tomatoes, that might last me half a year because of the different things that I make with tomatoes. I'll be canning up hamburger that's extra that I might get from the farm. I have not ordered a side of beef yet. I hope to do that, but we're budgeting that. That's another thing. Speaking of budgets, being frugal is really important to have kind of a budget. Sometimes we can do it in our head, but for me, writing it down actually shares with us, my husband and I, when we sit down at the end of the month to say, okay, what have we spent, where did we save, and why did we spend too much in an area or something like that. So we already know that our budget for dental is going to go over because we were told that my husband has to have a crown put on, and those are not inexpensive. So we're trying to figure out the budget. Can we move something from one area to the other so that we can have those funds available? So we may have to postpone that appointment, 1 or 2 months, just to make sure we have the resources for that. He had a tooth that fell, like broke off, so he has to get that fixed. And this is life. This is what happens. So the other things, I might be doing some of the hauls, but I'll also share some of the things that we get from the farm. But I'm not going to do this every week. We don't go to the grocery store very often. This last week, we went to the store and we spent a total, I think it was less than $10 because we didn't need much. And so we make our own bread now, so that doesn't need to be included. What's included in bread, and yes, we know this, when I buy raw ingredients like flour or the wheat berries, those things are all part of the grocery bill. So you're going to see that come in as I share throughout the year how that's working out. Let's see what else. And how we save. We're going to explain how we save on the budgets. And the last thing that I want to share is my most important aspect is I will be sharing my Christian values. Now, those of you who don't want to hear that and you want to sign off right now, I'm going to ask you to hold on a second, because if you can glean off what I share, that's awesome. I understand not everybody has the same Christian values. You know what? We're all different people. Now, I'll be honest, we do not go to a church building. We do not belong to a church family, but we do belong to the family of Christ within our community in terms of we believe what the Bible says. that does not mean you have to see things my way. It just means that this is the direction that I go in. I read the scriptures, we study it, and we kind of go on. There is something in the works that I'm planning, but I can't really share it right now because that's later. I'm trying to get this all taken care of. So you'll be hearing from me. You'll be hearing some personal views on maybe what's going on in culture and where my personal Christian views are coming in. You can go back to some of my other videos and see that. I try to be open. I am not one who is cut and dry, and that bothers some Christians. It bothers other people because they really don't know the direction I'm going in, and it's really hard to explain it because I try to stay focused on where God is leading me, and I try to stay focused on what the scriptures are saying. And the other nice thing is to have, like, even my husband, we can talk back and forth. And the cool thing about marriage and about both of us being Christians, we can look at the same scripture and we can look at it in a different light. Like, well, that's not what it means to me. And are you sure? And usually if it's something that we're kind of not too sure on and I don't agree with him and he doesn't agree with me, we kind of mold it to, it's basically me being submissive to how David is viewing that. And you know, that's because I believe that as a unit, as a couple, it's really important to honor my husband. He deserves respect. Do I deserve respect? Okay, females, I deserve respect too. And he does respect me. But when it comes to the final decision, maybe not in that area, but in major things, we generally talk about everything. But if there needs to be a tiebreaker, we've decided that since he's the leader of the house, in God's eyes, he is the one who is the leader. So you'll see some of that. So if you don't want to see my Christian values, it's okay. You can watch the other stuff, and hopefully you can glean some things that'll help you in your journey of your own. I will be sharing some health things that might be going on. I try not to share too much personal stuff. I have shared about Lyme disease. I was talking to somebody and they said they'd like to learn a little bit more about that, but I think I'm going to have my own chapter on that. So there might be a whole series coming through, and I'm kind of organizing all my notes that I took over the last, well, it was the last 10 years ago I was diagnosed, and finally diagnosed. So I'm going to go back and kind of go through that. I do have some old videos that you can just put Lyme in and you'll be able to see those videos. But that's what I'm doing. And part of this whole process is to monetize my channel so that I'm getting a lot of followers, because over the last few months I started telling my husband, this is about maybe in October, November, I've just been saying, I'm not sure if YouTube is right. I'm not sure if this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And when I started the journey, it was during the time where the world was messed up. Everybody was on it. And then I didn't know what I was doing. But as time has gone on and I prayed about it, and it's been a couple of months, I really feel God is leading me to actually monetize the channel, make it more complete so that people can gain some information. So that's what I'm doing. I am going to be making a few changes. I will be exhausted in the summer months because of the growing season, animals, and what if God presents us with a house in a few months? We'll be tired. We will be tired, but that's okay. I do trust that God has a plan for us and he will show us the way. Friends, I hope that you're doing great, and if you haven't, make sure you subscribe if you don't mind, and make sure you watch through, and if you've gotten this far, you've watched the whole video. But leave a comment if you will. It shows the algorithms of the channel, and I'm not one to promote stuff like this, and I think that's been my bad, because it's like I just don't like doing that part, but I kind of need to say it so that people are reminded to do this. So friends, I hope that you do follow, and I hope that you give me feedback of what you're looking for. Put it down. What are you looking for? A homesteader. What do you envision? What are the things that you would like to gain from following me? Friends, I hope you have a lovely evening, and may God bless you.